1, 2, 3, funk it.
My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
When Joy will have to catch up as they have missed. So today I'm going to cover Form 4 syllabus, still Form 4 syllabus, chapter 7 now, which talk about body coordination, all right? Okay, can you all, both of you hear my voice clearly? Can, huh? Can, okay, good. Okay, so let's look at the what we're going to look at. What we're going to cover this this chapter, or what would this chapter that you all will learn. First would be the human endocrine system. All right, so this is very important. Almost every year there will be questions that derive from this particular subject. Okay, human endocrine system. So pay attention. So probably today I will probably do this one. But if let's say we got time, then I'll do the second part, which is disruptions to body coordination. Okay. This part will mainly talk about how our body being coordinated. Things like, for example, how do we walk? How actually being disrupted. So in this second part, we will also you will also learn different types of drugs. Okay, all right. So this is the second part, and the last part, which is a very small part only, which is how do we actually maintain a healthy mind. So this is very much on general knowledge lah. Okay. So basically, this particular chapter will cover these three parts. Okay. 775. Welcome. All right. So this is a three parts. So first, we're going to look at the human endocrine system. All right. So now imagine this. Just type at the chat box on what would be your response when you actually face this particular situation. Okay, the first situation is that you're walking at the park, you walk, then suddenly you saw a snake. So what would be your reaction? Can you just type at the chat box? I'm not sure whether you have encountered a snake before, but if you're not, just try and imagine. If let's say you encounter a snake while you're walking in a park, what would be your reaction? Hugh, sure, no, Jensen. Okay, Riel said, hi Riel, lambat masuk Riel will run, okay. Very wow. Very wow. Moonlight, what would be your reaction? Just somehow I see your response like, no, I don't believe that. So what would be your reaction when you actually when you saw a snake? Hello, child, welcome. Snakes are cute. You got pet snakes at home, Jason? Okay, 7 said sacred. Scared is it? Typo. Okay, sacred pula. Okay. Moonlight said said run. Okay, sadly not. All right. For me, I would immediately call Bomber. Sure, no, immediately call Bomber. My mom not allowed. Yeah lah, of course. You're too young to keep a snake, and it's also not easy to maintain a snake. Because I have a friend who is collector of different type of snakes. So they are not the big one. Big one is just a small and medium size only. It's not easy, especially the part when you need to feed them or just very gore. Okay, so what will be your reaction? So mainly I see here that some of you say you will get scared, and then some of you say you will run, right? Okay, fine. Now let's look at the second situation, Pula. Now this second situation, how would you react when you are at home alone and suddenly there is a power trip? Okay, so what would be your reaction? you're home alone, so your parents are not around, and then maybe your parents go and say that, okay, want to go dating, okay? And then what do you call? You're the only one at home. So your reaction, I'm not asking what will be your next course of action. Of course, you turn on the phone flashlight. But why do you need to turn on? Pitch black like that, okay, what? But not everyone. Hantu. Okay, so generally that would be the first thing that comes into your mind, right? So when there's a power trip, then your mind suddenly play tricks on you. You think of ghosts. Okay. Riel say, what turn on the what trip plug? Didn't remember the name. Turn on the trip plug. I think I understand what you're trying to say, but you don't turn on. You will check. You will go and check the what do you call? The ELCV board. Okay, a meter. Okay, okay. It's an ELCV board, or you actually call the trip board. Layman term, Any one of you all know where is the location of your trip board, your power trip board? Usually when I ask the class, some of us say they know, but I can tell you, usually they don't know. Yeah, of course in the house. Okay, it's inside the house, but usually where? Where does it located? Where does the what they call the power trip board located? Beside the front door. Yes, okay, yes, that is correct. Usually it's beside the front door. Okay, close to the door. Yeah, close to the main door. Yes, correct. All right. So it depends on if you say you're staying in double story, usually at your ground floor, and usually it's your main door is somewhere beside there lah. Okay, so mainly you go and check. But here, my question is that what would be your reaction when there is a power trip, a sudden power trip, pitch black, everything? So if I recall, is that you all said you imagine hantu. Okay, I used to go there if there's blackout. When you sleep, you confused. You'll be hot. Okay, all right. Okay, good. So this will be your reaction. Okay, now third one. Now, what will be your reaction if, let's say, you are, I'm not sure whether you have run marathon, but let's say in 100 meter, you run 100 meter. Okay, and you see the finish line is about 20 meters away when you're competing in this running event. All right? So what will be your reaction? You're running, and then you can see the finish line right in front of you already. Very nom-nom. What do you mean? What do you mean very nom-nom? Jensen? Relief? How can you be relieved? You still haven't crossed the finish line. You only see the finish line right in front of you. You're exhausted and thirsty. Okay. Oh, very excited. Okay. Jensen said, okay, very excited already. We are hungry. How can you be hungry? That's very weird. You see the finish line, suddenly you feel hungry. Thirsty, yes. But usually you don't feel thirsty. But what do you feel? Okay, Jensen said very excited. Okay, what else? What would be your reaction? Now you're competing. You see the finish line right in front of you already. So excited. What else? Exhausted. Okay, you suddenly feel very exhausted. Okay. I will run fast. Okay. You run faster. Okay, even faster than before. Okay, all right, good. Okay, so thank you very much for your response. So why do I actually ask this question, these three questions? It's also related to the next topic, which is our endocrine system. So basically, you see, it's not that every day that you will see a snake, okay, while you're walking. Every day you will have power trip at home, hopefully not. Or every day you actually going for running event, this kind of the reaction or the feeling, it's actually once in a blue moon. But if you notice that in these three scenarios, your body somehow gives some sort of reaction. It can be suddenly that you behave normal, then power trip, and then your mind suddenly play tricks on you. You suddenly think of ghosts. You suddenly heard something is not there. Okay, you heard noises, but there's no one there. Okay, and because of pitch black, you can't see everything around you. But after a while, then you notice that your eyes can able not able to see in the dark lah, but you were able to see some shadow. Okay, so why is this thing happen? Okay, so it's actually because of our human endocrine system. It's actually playing a part whereby it actually try to react what they call external environmental situation. Okay, so that's one example. So again, what do we actually mean by human endocrine system? So it's actually a system in our human body. The function, okay, the purpose is to coordinate, okay, coordinate body functions. And in human endocrine system, it's actually involve chemical, okay, if involve chemical substances. So what do actually these chemical substances are? Okay, these actually called hormones. Your reaction suddenly that you get scared, suddenly that you can run faster, suddenly that you can hear things that is much, suddenly your ears can be like a dog, you know, you can hear very, very low decibel noise, or you can actually see a bit of shadow even in pitch black. So all these are actually because of hormones. Okay, so these hormones are actually chemical substances releases from our body, or to be exact, from the endocrine glands. Glands in Malay is called kelenjar. Alia is not in my class, so usually I ask Alia what would be the Malay this one. So gland in Malay is called kelenjar, kelenjar endocrine. Okay, endocrine in Malay is also called endocrine. Now, so these hormones, what do they do? All right, this one you have to remember. Sometimes they will ask you in the question in SPM. So hormone that is releases in our body, it can changes these 5 things. Not all, it can be some of them, but not all. Okay, so it can actually change our heartbeat. Means that either it beat faster or even slower. But usually, if let's say you got scared, like power trip, suddenly you got scared, right? Then your heartbeat will raise, okay, become faster. And your changes in your breathing rate, so suddenly you breathe very fast, okay. Blood pressure, okay, blood pressure can either go up or down. Your blood glucose level, okay. And the last one is our metabolism rate. So metabolism rate is like the example that I give you, the one run marathon, the last 20 meter that you see the finish line, you're happy already. Besides that, you're feeling, some of you say what, hungry lah, thirsty lah, you know, and stuff like that. Suddenly that you can actually run faster. You already tired, but suddenly that you have that burst of energy that you can actually run faster than before. So that one is due to metabolism rate, okay, increase. So these are the changes. So remember these 5. So what are the hormones can cause, what are the changes? These 5, right? So far clear? Any question? Boleh? Boleh or not? Can all right, so these 5. Okay, so this one I actually took from your book, which is pretty easy to understand, but I need to explain this. How do you actually refer to this diagram? You look at the top, which is, you look at the endocrine gland. So what it is endocrine gland is actually a ductless gland. So ductless means that that doesn't have any sort of like a jalo, like a pipe. Okay, it's ductless. All right. So how do they actually release these so-called hormones? It's like spray. Okay. So the gland just spray this hormone into the bloodstream. So it's ductless. And what is the function of the endocrine gland? Okay, earlier this one I already explained, is to coordinate activity by the body. Okay, based on the stimulus from the environment. And this endocrine gland, this secretes a hormone Okay, this one also you have to remember what would be the characteristics of an hormone. So as you can see here, there are 5 characteristics. Okay, it would be good if you're able to remember all 5. Okay, because question may ask you which one are the characteristics of hormones. Okay, so the characteristic, the first one is that hormone has prolonged effect. So when it is sprayed out or released, prolonged effect, it can be few minutes or it can be few hours, okay, depending. And hormones is a type of protein. At your level, science level, you don't need to remember the chemical formula for hormone. But those who studying biology, sorry lah, this one you have to remember the chemical formula for hormones. Okay, but for your level, SPM levels, SPM science level, just remember that hormone is a type of protein. And hormone, there are times also they give a slow response. So means that when the hormone being released, you may or may not have immediate effect. So most of the time when the hormone is released, it will have a slower response. Our body will react slower. Except there is an exception now, but here in your textbook it doesn't mention this, except for this one hormone called adrenaline. I will explain later in my next coming slide. But generally, the hormone release, it will give a slower response. Okay, and then hormone releases in a very small quantity. It doesn't need a lot, very little, but it can actually give a much prolonged effect and much effective. Okay, and also hormone stimulates the function of specific tissue or organs. This one I will touch in my next slide. So that's why I need to highlight this slide. It's very important. So keep note. What are the characteristics of hormones? These are the 5. Okay. Okay. Now, in our human body, how many glands are there? Right. So I think I show you the male and the female. Some we have the same. Things like, for example, if you look at pineal gland, okay, male and female does have that. So majority, as you can see here, we do have, except our sexual reproduction organ. For the males, we have testicles. Okay, that is where it produce male hormones. As for the female, all right, the what do you call? It doesn't have what do you call a testicle, of course, obviously. They actually have what we call as ovary. Okay, so what does the role of an ovary and testicle? Later I will explain to you. But things like, for example, like pituitary gland, thyroid gland, pancreas, adrenal, male and female also got. So the only difference is that male would have testicles, female would have ovary. Okay, that's the this one. How about sweat glands? Okay, sweat glands. Yes, that's a very good question. Sweat glands, yes, we do have, but it's not covered in the syllabus. Actually, the sweat glands is just to produce the amount of sweat released from the body. Okay, Jensen, thank you for that question. What is the function of sweat glands? Is actually to control the body temperature. So if let's say your body is hot, your sweat glands will actually tell the body to produce sweat. So produce sweat means that is to release heat. But then if let's say you are at the cold weather, then the sweat glands will tell the body, okay, don't release any more, don't release any sweat because it's very cold. Then it will tell the entire body, whereby the skin, we have pores, right? We have small little pores, right? All of it will be closed. So from there, you don't have any sort of sweat being released. That is why we can able to keep the body temperature. Okay, yeah, that's very good, Jensen. Okay, now, but in your, here is the picture. Of course, it's not from your textbook, but I just want to show you the comparison between male and female. In your from SPM science, you only need to know these 6 adrenaline glands. Okay, the one that I highlighted with the green tick, got 6. Pituitary, of course, there's 1 pair lah. Okay, thyroid you need to know, pancreas you need to know, adrenal glands you need to know, testicle is for the male, and ovary for the female. So altogether 6. This one you have to know every single one. You have to know where is the location. Okay, you have to know what is the hormone being released. You also need to know what is the function of the hormone being released. Okay, so I hope that you all have take note. These are the 3 things that you need to know. Every year definitely will come out this question. So let me repeat again. You need to know not just the name of the gland, but you need to know the location. Where is the gland? You don't put, for example, testicle, you're going to point at the head there, at the kepala otak there, definitely wrong lah. So you need to identify the exact location. You need to know what is the hormone being released. There are some glands that releases more than 1 hormones. You have to remember as well. And the third one is that you have to know what is the role, what is the function of that particular hormones. Okay, these 3. Okay, now let's go through every single one of it. Let's start from the head lah. So head now, okay. In your textbook, it doesn't mention this gland, but this one will actually works together with the next one, which is very important. But this one I just explained to you a little bit. You don't need to remember pineal gland. So pineal gland is actually very small. A small pea-shaped gland is actually sit in the brain, and it releases this hormone called melatonin. So what is the function of this hormone, melatonin? Is to regulate our sleep pattern. So very good example is that why people, when you travel, let's say from Malaysia, you fly all the way to the US, and then you notice that, no, not melatonin makes me happy. No, that is serotonin. Riel, you confused already. Not melatonin. Serotonin is the one that makes us happy. Don't salah ajar. Ini dah ajaran sesat ni. Yes. Okay. Serotonin is from love. Not from love lah. Okay. So this is melatonin. So melatonin is help us to regulate our sleep. So how does it work? Is that if let's say you have a more or less a sleeping pattern. So usually you always sleep at, let's say 10 o'clock at night, and you always wake up at 7 o'clock. No, cannot be 7 o'clock. And usually you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Example. So melatonin already programmed in such a way that by the time you 10 o'clock, you no need to look at the clock. By the time 10 o'clock, your body somehow will tells you that, hey, sleepy already. You have droopy eyes. You start to yawn a lot. Okay, so that is time to sleep. Then you look at the clock. 10 o'clock. Okay, so that is the function of melatonin. So the problem is that when you actually start to travel, let's say just now I said from Malaysia, you travel to US, you know that it's a complete opposite, right? So day is night, night is day, you know. So by the time that 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. is supposed to sleep, but then when you reach the US, it's broad daylight. Broad daylight, you cannot sleep because usually only when it's pitch black or dark, only you can sleep. So there is a confusion there. So our body or melatonin will try to adjust. It probably will take a few days to adjust, to accommodate US time. But then if let's say from US, you come back to Malaysia, then you have to readjust your sleeping pattern. So the readjust of the sleeping pattern is actually controlled by this melatonin. Okay, just for your FYI lah. Okay, now then the next one, which is also located very close to pineal gland, which, as I said, I do not know why your textbook actually removed this. Actually, this pineal gland also, they actually very close by to this gland called pituitary. Now, pituitary gland is also called as the master gland. Is the sifu of all the glands in our body. Okay, so pituitary gland is very, very important. Why? Because it produces hormone that able to control different processes in the body. What sort of processes? Okay, you just have to remember these two. Pituitary gland produces these two hormones called antidiuretic hormone, ADH for short. Okay, so if you see ADH, this is called antidiuretic hormone. But then if you see the word diuretic, okay, diuretic means anything to do with water, air, or cacair, or fluid. Antidiuretic hormone, what does it do? Is actually to control the amount of water being absorbed by our kidneys. All right. So you see, pituitary gland is at the brain, right? How can actually it send signal to our kidney? So it will release up this ADH hormone into the bloodstream. Then it will travel to the kidney. So in other words, hormone is like a messenger, it's our messenger inside our body. Okay. So what is the function of ADH? Is to control the amount of water being absorbed. Okay. By who? By the kidney. And the second hormone is the growth hormone. Okay, so if you're asking, hey, how come like a baby being born, how can actually you can slowly grow until adult? Because of this growth hormone that is located inside our pituitary gland. So what does this growth hormone does? It controls our growth. Okay. It also controls our sexual maturation, or in other words, puberty lah. All right. So if you notice that some kids, they will reach puberty. It can be as early as maybe 10. Okay. Last time it used to be around 12 years old, but nowadays somehow puberty hits probably as early as 10 years old. Okay. So this is actually controlled by the growth hormone. And then of course we have reproduction, blood pressure, and also other vital physical functions that is related to growing. Okay, so that's why if you notice that, then the other question is that how come we do not have continuous growth? Means that you are 5'7", 5'7". How come it cannot be continuous to become 5'8", 9, and then become 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet? Why does it not continuous? Because of this growth hormone. Because at a certain time, it will stop producing. Then that's why the growth will stop there. But then if let's say something wrong with the pituitary gland, it will keep on releasing this growth hormone. That's why if you notice that there are some people can reach the height of 7 feet. I think the tallest one is 7 feet plus lah. Because this is not due to genetic. This is something wrong with the person's pituitary gland. All right. So under normal person, probably you will get, depending like Asian, generally you will have average for guys maybe about 5'10", 5'8", not 5'8", about 5'9", 5'9", 5'10", average lah. I'm talking about. Okay, those that above 7 feet, this is something wrong with the pituitary gland. Okay. So remember, pituitary gland, they have two hormones. What is it? ADH and also growth hormone. Okay, so that's the head. Now let's move it down to our neck. The next one is our thyroid gland. Okay, our thyroid gland is actually a small little butterfly shape. And where is it located? It's actually located at the base of our neck, or you can say that at the base of our throat. So you can actually feel, you can run your hand along your throat the moment when you actually start to feel your upper rib cage or your sternum. So that is the location of your thyroid gland. And thyroid gland, it releases this hormone called thyroxine. And what does this hormone does? What does this thyroxine does? Is to control the body's metabolism rate, which includes the breathing and heart rate. Okay, so The breathing rate, of course, we can do it faster and slower, not a problem. But in general, how come we can actually breathe at this normal rate is actually controlled by this thyroxine. Okay, so that's why let's say suddenly you got scared, changes of heart rate, it also what do you call due to the thyroxine that is releases. Because if you notice that where is our heart? The heart is located very close to the thyroid gland, right? So that's why the reaction will be very fast. Okay, so that is thyroid gland. Now the next one, this one is, if you look at your textbook or if you have your textbook in front of you, they will give you the drawing, the diagram of this gland, but there's no name, no description, which I do not know why. But here I still give you, again, this is FYI, it's not part of your syllabus. The one slightly below the thyroid gland, which is located between the two lungs, our two lungs, this is actually called the thymus gland. Okay, thymus gland, it releases this hormone called thymopoietin. Okay, and what does this thymopoietin does? This is it actually activates our body's defense mechanism. So it's like this thymus gland is like the general. So when, let's say, there's any intruder come into the body, like any bacteria or virus, thymus gland will actually, this general will start to tell what you call this soldier. The soldier is actually called the white blood cells, okay, to be released and then they fight this infection. All right. So that is the function of this hormone called thymopoietin. All right. Then let's go down a bit more. This is our adrenal gland. So adrenal gland, very easy to remember. It just sits right on top of our two kidneys. Now, this one you have to take note. Adrenal gland, it comes in a pair. Okay. So because kidney we have two, we also have a pair. So it also located at just right on top. It's a very small gland. So the question is that if, let's say, one, for whatever reason, have one adrenal gland damaged in the body, so can the fella die? No, because you have another one. But then if you left only one is working, you will have to work a bit harder. Okay, now adrenal gland, the hormone that is actually released is actually called adrenaline. So I'm very sure that you have heard this term adrenaline, right? Why people have this adrenaline rush. Okay, so what does this hormone does, this adrenaline does, is actually help to regulate metabolism. It also contribute to strengthen our immune system, regulating blood pressure, as well as response to stress or whatever the external environmental stimuli. So this is actually controlled by adrenaline. So this one, again, why, like the third scenario that I told you that, when you see the finish line, you get excited already, then suddenly you can run very fast, although you're very tired, because of this adrenaline. The other example is that the first scenario whereby what you saw a snake, right? Suddenly you got scared. So then you can run very fast. Why? Because of this adrenaline, right? Okay. So far, any question? Boleh? Okay, let me. I tried melatonin pill before, and you know what it feels good. You only take that pill is actually to, I would say, to make you actually sleep better, put it this way. Okay, Ria? Okay, so far, any question? Ken? Good night, Ken. How about the rest? Charles, Jensen, are you all still there? Riel? 7? Okay, good. Okay, so let's continue. Then the next one is pancreas. Now, Pancreas, the function is to secrete what we call as the blood sugar regulating hormones. And they are two types of hormones, similar like pituitary. Pituitary also got two types of hormone, right? ADH and growth hormone. Pancreas also got two. This one you have to remember, insulin and glucagon. What is the function of insulin? Is to decrease, okay? Is to what? Is to decrease the blood sugar level in the body. So that is why diabetic patient, why the blood sugar level very high is because that the body cannot produce enough insulin, all right? So it's very dangerous. If let's say the body have a very high blood sugar level, do you know what would be the impact? Any one of you all? If let's say our body have too much sugar inside our body, what will happen? Any one of you all know? Sugar rush? Yes. Okay. So what is the impact of sugar rush? All right. No, you don't get high. Sugar rush is like how? You get excited. Okay, so you will have a lot of energy, but that the feeling of it's not high. High and you have a lot of energy is two different things, Jensen. Sugar rush here means that suddenly that your body have this a lot of energy, but it's actually only at a short burst. Probably that you can you feel that you can run 10 kilometers non-stop, or you can lift things that what do you call very heavy. Okay. No, yeah. So don't confuse with adrenaline. I'm talking here about what will happen if let's say there is a high sugar level in the body. So the first one is that the first one is that there will be a surge of energy. Okay, but it's only at a small period of time. All right. So this is very dangerous because it can exert the heart. So people with high level of sugar level in the body, that person can pass out or even die because of heart attack. All right, because the heart pumping, of that energy. So how do we actually to control that? That's why diabetic patient, there are some diabetic patient, they have this what we call as the insulin pen. They have to inject themselves at the thigh and inject this insulin, this synthetic insulin to control, to reduce, all right, to reduce the blood sugar. Okay, so that is the one. Then glucagon pula is to increase the blood sugar level. Normally, diabetic patient would not have this issue, but then having said that, there is a condition called hypoglycemic. Okay, hypoglycemic means that low blood sugar. So if you have low blood sugar, then the body, the pancreas will actually release out this glucagon to increase back the blood sugar level. All right. So this is the function. So here, the general mistake that students make here, they confuse. They thought that, insulin is to increase the blood sugar level, glucagon is to decrease. So that is wrong. So always don't confuse yourself. So insulin is decrease, glucagon is to increase, right? So one is decrease, one is increase. Which one? You have to remember insulin is for decrease the blood sugar. Okay, so that is pancreas. There are two types of hormones. Next one, okay, this is the male, is the testicles or testes. Or some books, they actually spell it T-S-T-E-S, is the same thing. All right. So the testes or testicles actually produce this one hormone called testosterone. Or in layman term, we call it as the male hormone. So they call it male hormone. Male hormone is called testosterone. So what does this testosterone does? Okay, it plays an important role in regulating sex drive, or layman term, it's called libido. So bone mass, fat distribution, muscle mass and strength, and also help the production of red blood cells and also sperm. Okay, the sperm count. So testosterone is basically is our male hormone. Okay, so remember that this is for testes. Now for the female one pula, this is ovary. Okay, so I'm sure that you can remember. So for male is testis, testosterone, ovary pula. Okay, for ovary, there are two types of hormones that you have to remember. And again, the lot of students, they always confuse estrogen and progesterone, the function, the terbalik. Okay, so this is also similar like insulin and glucagon. Don't get this confused. So there are two types of hormone produced by ovary. Okay, so like just now, testes, remember they have a pair. For male, we always have a pair of testes. So for female, they also have a pair of ovaries, right? So both ovaries, produces these two hormones, estrogen and progesterone. So what does this estrogen does? Now, estrogen is to develop the female secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, so if let's say those before or not before lah, let's say your two kids are boy and girl lah. You know sometimes that you can't tell the difference. I said that if you have the girl, you keep long hair, you know, and stuff like that. But then sometimes that you can't differentiate between boy and girl. Okay, but when you start to hit at the age of probably like 5 or maybe as early as 4 or 5, then it actually will start to develop this female secondary sexual characteristics. You won't have, girls would not have breasts at 4 years old, but when it slowly develop, okay, they will slowly develop, when they go to primary school, 1, 2, you know, and stuff like that. That is where they actually start to build up this, develop, these characteristics such as the breast and then the hip, the pelvic, the hip also getting, I don't say bigger, but usually is wider, all right? So this is controlled by estrogen. When after it hits puberty, that is where it will start to produce start to do ovum production. And let's say there is sexual activity has been done, and embryo it start to form. That is where the uterus, you know, the function of uterus. The uterus is to keep the baby inside or keep the embryo inside. The uterus will start to develop. All right. So this is the function of estrogen. Then the next one, progesterone. What is the function of progesterone? Now, progesterone, make it easy to remember, is to help regulating menstruation. So for female, for guys, usually guys, you may or may not know, but if let's say you do not know, every female, they will go through this once a month. We call it as the menstruation cycle. Okay, so regulating menstruation, this cycle, is actually comes on a monthly basis. So it's not necessarily must come, the menstruation cycle will start on the 1st of every month, not necessary, because I do it online, it's a bit difficult. When I do it in the class, I always ask the guys, usually they will get it wrong. I do not know whether they do it purposely or what. They always think that, okay, menstruation cycle is always start on the 1st. So which is not. It depends, you know, every female body is different. You can start on the 1st, you can start on the 5th, and even start on the 22nd of the month. But the body, just to share for you guys and girls out there, girls you all would know at this age. For the guys, the menstruation cycle does not follow our Gregorian calendar. Do you remember that? So internally, they have their own internal bio clock. So although it started, let's say the menstruation cycle start on the 10 of every month. But for the body, it's like the first day of the month. Okay, just to share. So is to regulate. Why this is important? Because they have to keep track. Every month they will come usually at this more or less the same day, plus minus probably 2 to 3 days lah, plus minus. The only thing that the female have to take note is that when their menstruation cycle is, I don't say interrupted, but it's not regular. Like for example, this month on the 10th. Then next month suddenly it's on the 22nd. If we look at the calendar, then the third month pula tak datang, skip 1 month. And then the fourth month pula suddenly is on the coming a bit late, maybe on the 18th. So this is not normal. So means that the progesterone inside that what do you call that the girl's body, the female's body, something is not right. And usually is that if let's say you notice the menstruation cycle is not regular, you have to go and do a checkup. Okay, something is not right. The only time, okay, let me ask the guys that there will be a time whereby the female body will not menstruate, will stop this menstruation cycle. When is the time? Guys, do you have any idea? Because earlier I said that every month, right? Every month they have this menstruation cycle, but there will be a time whereby it will be totally stopped. When is the time? You're tak payah malu, because now it's online. I cannot see your face, you cannot see, so it should be easier. So my question is that when is the time whereby the menstruation cycle stop? Any idea? I'm going to ask the guy, but I'm not sure whether there's any girl here or not. I can't tell. I think it's all guy, except Riel. You put our PM Ismail Sabri's face, I will assume that you are a guy. Oh, Mona is a girl. Okay, thank you. What fifth day? Apa fifth day ni, Charles? Anyone? Now back to the question, when is the time whereby the menstruation cycle stops? I do not know whether the guy will know this lah, so I don't know the malu. Okay lah, for the girl, you can answer lah. When it stops making the uterus wall bleeds, menstruation cycle will stop when uterus wall bleeds. When the uterus wall bleeds, that's very dangerous already, right? No. Child, tak betul lah tu. Would 6 days old. Okay, thank you very much. Usually it's not very sensitive, but thank you for sharing, Moonlight. Hey, dangerous. Of course, uterus wall bleeds is dangerous, especially if let's say you have a you have a baby inside. Oh, dangerous. Come on, guys. When's the time? This one is definitely you won't find in your textbook, but since we are in the topic of the menstruation cycle, I think it's good for you to know. I thought uterus wall bleeds is to buang kuman? No. Menstruation, why they have this menstruation cycle? Of course, is to eliminate those non-dry blood. This old blood. Yeah. Old blood. And that old blood, of course, it contains all this kuman inside. But if let's say you're not pregnant, if let's say a person is not pregnant, you won't have the uterus wall. Child? You won't have. Moonlight, you give me that sticker, what does it mean? Remove unrelevant ovum. Unrelevant ovum. Is there a relevant and unrelevant ovum? I think the correct term is expired. Okay, you see the egg or ovum, if it's not being fertilized, it cannot be just kept there. It has to be released out or discharged from the body. How? is through this menstruation cycle. Real. Okay, so back to the question. I don't think you all, because I don't see any answer, I will presume that you all don't know. I do not know whether you don't know or you malu, but I presume you don't know. Okay, so the question earlier just now is that when is the time when menstruation cycle stops? There are two conditions. The first is when the person get pregnant, when the lady get pregnant, when the female got pregnant, menstruation cycle should stop. Okay, that's one. The second condition is that when the woman hit a situation, you can say a situation which is what we call as menopause. Okay, MENOPAUSE, menopause. So menopause, usually it will happen. Okay, different people will have different age. I didn't answer the question. Okay, my question is that when would be the menstruation cycle stops? Earlier, I said that menstruation cycle happen every month, right? Okay, but there will be a time whereby it stops. So the first one I already mentioned is that when the person get pregnant, yes, when the person get pregnant, the menstruation should stop. Okay. The second condition is when the woman hit the stage called menopause. So menopause will actually happen generally. It will maybe, let's say, give it an average of 50 years old. I don't say old people, but I do have friends that hit menopause as early as 40 plus years old. That's young. I think she is 42, if I'm not mistaken. So when the person hit menopause, then it will not have menstruation cycle. Yeah. So that's why it really depends on your body. Whether you be late, but generally it's about 50 years old. Let's give it about 50 years old. Okay. Genetic, no, not necessarily. Menopause can be, why menopause can happen early? It's actually due to hormonal imbalance, usually, which I will touch on it probably, I think, next week. Okay, next week. Okay, usually not genetic. Okay. Okay, so that's about. So remember, for ovary, it has these two hormones, estrogen and progesterone. So don't confuse with one another. You just remember that the menstruation cycle is actually controlled by progesterone. That's it. Estrogen is to develop the the sexual characteristic. Things like, for example, like the development of the breast, the hip get wider. Usually these two. Okay. Okay. Hormonal imbalance. I think still what 3 minutes. Okay, I can do this now. Hormone, if let's say releases in the body, I mean in a normal condition, it can help the body. But what do you mean by hormonal imbalance? So hormonal imbalance, if let's say they were released either too little or too much. Too little is also considered hormonal imbalance. Too much also considered hormonal imbalance as well. Okay. So what you need to know about this is that, but you all have to remember this one thing. Everyone, tak kisahlah guy, male or female, everyone will experience a natural period of hormonal imbalance or fluctuation at any point of their life. So it doesn't mean that, I think that my pituitary gland, has been functioning very properly, but sometimes it can go up and down without us realizing it. Okay, so which is pretty normal. The one that is not normal, if let's say it is impact your health, then you have to go and do checkup. Okay. Some causes of hormonal imbalance. This one you have to remember. Question, sometimes they will ask you, generally in paper 1. So what are the causes of hormonal imbalance? So please remember this. So what causes it means that why suddenly this person can have hormonal imbalance. Although it can happen naturally, but sometimes that if actually disrupt, so what are the factors? So the first one is medical condition. For example, those who have diabetes lah, have cancer lah, and stuff like that. This one definitely will impact the hormone inside the body. Okay, if the person has medical condition. Second, due to chronic continuous stress also can cause hormonal imbalance. So this is due to external factor. So next time, let's say you study, why you stress, everyday stress, 365 days stress, this one definitely will impact your hormone levels in the body, chronic stress. Third one, this is the Malaysian problem lah. You makan simply walap your snack every day, must have your twisties lah, every day must have your French fries lah, like your boba drink lah. So very poor diet and nutrition also can impact hormonal imbalance as well. This is also another common problem in Malaysia. Do you know that 1 in 2 Malaysians are actually overweight? So you can see how many of you are in the class, including me, 2, 4, 6, 7, including the moderator, there's 7. So means that half of the class here are actually overweight. You just look at yourself lah. Okay, so that's the report. 1 in 2 Malaysians are overweight. To be precise, is adults lah. Adults. I consider you all as adults, no more kids. Right? Okay, so the next one that can cause hormonal imbalance is that taking medications, especially those hormonal replacement, probably you feel that, okay, or maybe the doctor prescribed you because you are lack of certain hormones. You take it, but doctor's supposed to not ask you to stop, but you keep on continue taking it. So that's very dangerous. And birth control, this one is for the female. If you take all this medication, it will impact the hormone in the body. Last but not least, exposure to toxins, pollutants, asap, your asap from your car, vehicles, from rokok, from cigarettes, pesticide, all these things also in a long term, not just that when you just smell, smoke or straight away you got hormonal imbalance. No, this is prolonged. Okay, prolonged. Okay, so these are the causes. And what would be, after you know the causes of hormonal imbalance, you also need to know the effects. So give me another couple of minutes more. Because some of you dah lah masuk lambat. Okay, so you have to know what are the effects. This one also very important. You have to remember what are the effects of hormonal imbalance. I divide it to men and women. This one is not, okay, it's not that it's not from the textbook. Your textbook, I noticed that it's here and there. Men and women is like all together, but I structure it whereby this one I actually extracted from an article called Medical News Today. It's very up to date. They actually mentioned that what are the top 7 effects of hormonal imbalance in men and women. All right? But your textbook would have some of this, some of this that I mentioned. So what are the effects of hormonal imbalance in men? The first one is cognitive decline. Do you know what is the word cognitive means? Class? What does cognitive means? Like Changi word, but it's not lah. I just want to ask you. Do you know what is cognitive? Anyone? Okay, some of you I think Google already. Okay, what is cognitive? Class, cognitive, what does it mean? Yes, cognitive. Apa makna? What does it mean? Cognitive. Hey, no one. Are you still there? Moonlight, are you still there? DK what? Oh, don't know. Okay. Cognitive means thinking skill, reasoning skill. Okay, that's cognitive. So cognitive decline here is that the reasoning. I searched on Google, still confused. Okay, I already told you. So cognitive means thinking skill, reasoning skill. Things like, for example, is that how do you cook Maggie? Okay, so I'm not asking you to cook, but you will start to think, okay, first I have to boil water, right? And then you have to pour like probably 2.5 cups of water. Then after that, while waiting for the water to boil, then you have to open up a packet of the Maggie. Then when is the time that you put in the noodle? So of course you have to wait until the water boil, right? So when water boil, gargle ready, then you put in the noodle. Okay, so that is thinking skill. So there is a structure. Okay, it's not that you take a pot, you open fire, you straight put in noodle without water. No, right? So that is the thinking skill is not right. So this is part of cognitive. So cognitive decline means that the reasoning skill impacted. It cannot make any decision. And usually this kind of person is that they talk but doesn't make sense. So that is impact. All right. So cognitive decline. Then the second reason is that second effect is depression. All right. Third is erectile dysfunction. This is usually that those married married men. All right. So low sex drive. Okay. So usually maybe with a wife, I don't know. Normal is supposed to be once a week, but this one is like more than 3 months didn't touch the wife. So this is considered low sex drive. Okay. Fatigue means that fatigue is extreme tired. Okay. It's not fatigue is not tired. It's another level of tired. Okay. Hair loss, for men. Loss of muscle mass. Or the other words is also can loss of weight also can, and memory loss. Okay, so these are the top 7 reasons, the top 7 effects, hormonal imbalance in men. For women, pula, the top 7 effects. The first one is mood swings. Very dangerous. Mood swings. 1 second she can be happy, and then the other second she can turn into a lioness, angry. Mood swing. Okay, it means that can change. you no. Bipolar disorder is not like that. That one is too extreme already. You are comparing like hell and heaven. Mood swing and bipolar disorder is two very extreme example. Okay, so mood swing. Irregular menstrual cycle, this one I already mentioned earlier. Infertility is very similar to erectile dysfunction, but erectile dysfunction is for men. Woman is infertility. Infertility means that either it doesn't produce ovum, or probably it produces ovum, but the ovum is not healthy. Okay, infertility. Low sex drive. Okay, women also can have this problem as well. Insomnia. Insomnia means that cannot sleep, have problems sleeping. Okay, and then this one will rectify by popping pills, sleeping pills. Okay. Then unexplained weight gain or weight loss. Last but not least is called this condition called hirsutism. Hirsutism means that excessive hair growth. When I say excessive hair growth is not on the rambut. It can happen on the face, means that the woman, I'm not sure whether you have read, probably you may not see it. Women that have grown mustache, grow a little bit of beard, not as long as men, but just a little bit. Okay, and the other one sometimes that they actually have leg hair. Okay, excessive means that too much, really can compare like a man. This is a condition called hirsutism. Okay, excessive hair growth. So these are the top 7 effects of hormonal imbalance. All right. Okay, so I think I overshot by almost 10 minutes already. So I think I'll stop here. So today's topic, which is about endocrine gland, I know it's a lot for you all to digest, but please go through it again. As I said, you need to know the location, you need to know what are the hormones being released, and you need to know what is the function of the hormones. And then the other part is that you need to know what is the cause and effect of hormonal imbalance. So far, okay? Boleh? Can? Can or not? Can, huh? Interesting or not? Today's topic. Usually, face to face, that both boys and the guys and girls are very attentive one. But doing online, I try to make it as informative as this one. Huh? Okay, so I do not want to keep you too long already. So thank you very much. So next week, then I will continue with the second part, this disruption on body coordination as well as the maintaining healthy healthy mindset. Right. So thank you very much. Good night and take care. See you next week. Bye bye.